All right. Okay, so sorry, rewinding, just reviewing exactly what we're doing. So you will have a drawing on your paper, right? You are going to be using this tracing paper that we have right here. I already have a grid on this one, so I don't want to draw another grid over it. I don't think that tutorial will be very valuable, so I'm going to make my grid over here, but you make your grid on your piece of tracing paper. So, looking at my ruler, I'm going to make my tick marks. Remember, if you don't have a 0 on your ruler, you're starting from the edge of your ruler, then you are marking a tick mark at every inch across your page. So down at the bottom, tick mark at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, then we're going to do the same thing at the top. Line up your ruler, make sure everything is nice and even, and you're going to make your tick marks up here at the top. So 1, 2, I'm blocking it. 3, I'm still blocking it. 4, and 5. Okay, so now what I have are 2 sets of tick marks. We know what to do with those. We're just going to connect them using a straight edge. In my case, that's going to be a ruler. So I'm going to turn my piece sideways, find my first 2 tick marks, line them up as well as I can, and I'm going to just draw a line all the way across my paper, just like that. You're going to continue to do that for the other 4 tick marks. Sorry for the delay before. It's been a long morning. And just to get that last one, I'm going to turn it around. Doesn't really matter. It's just a little bit easier. Lining up those tick marks and drawing there. Okay. So now we have part of our grid. I believe we started this way. So now every row, or every column rather, is 1 inch apart, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. Our next job, which will now be easier because we have horizontal lines that we can trust, is going to be making tick marks every inch, but this time it's going to be up to 7. So we're always going to start from the same corner, right? The same edge, that's important. So I'm going to start at this edge over here, and I just need to keep track of that. So I'm going to line my ruler up using the line that we already have. I'm going to make sure that the edge of my ruler is on the edge of my paper because I don't have a 0 on my ruler. And then I'm going to go in and start making tick marks. So at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and finally 7. There you go. It's like a little mini ruler. And then we're going to go down here and do the same thing. You can do it on the bottom row. You can do it on the middle row. It doesn't really matter. But what does matter is that your ruler lines up with the same edge that you used before. Okay, so you have to start at the same edge, otherwise it's not going to work. So I'm going to line up my ruler with the line that I already have. The edge of my ruler is on the edge of the paper, so we're looking good. We're going to put more tick marks. And again, you know this is going to be right when you have 7 tick marks, right? Because you should have 7 inches. So there you go. Now all I have to do is connect these tick marks to create my grid. Right, and these should wind up being squares, kind of like a waffle situation. And then the last thing we want to do is just define exactly where our grid is. All right. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. this is a grid. Just want to point out a couple things. We have some extra area over here on the sides. And we don't want to get confused later. So what I'm going to do is try to kind of cross that area out. And actually, this is unnecessary too. So the first, we want to kind of define where our grid is and where our grid is not. So first, we're going to count from our origin, right? This is where we started everything. So we got, just to make sure, yep, these are all 1 inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, we have a 5-inch grid. This is something we don't need, right? So what I'm going to do is just kind of, this whole column, you can just kind of squiggle out, just so we don't get confused later. That's gone. It's not part of our thing. We don't want it. Okay. Same way, up here at the top, we're going to have 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this whole 8th row, we don't need, so we're going to squiggle it out again. Okay. So this is going to be our grid. This is what we're working with. If you want to label it, you can. I'm just going to double check and make sure we're labeling the same way that we did before. Sorry, 1 second. Oh gosh. Good. Instructions. Yes, okay, so we're going to label this the same way we did before, which is letters across the top. So we can go A, B, C, D, E. And then numbers going down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boom. There we go. So A1 is in the upper right hand corner. That's how we did it with the Skinner grid. And then E1, right? You can point to any box. D5, C3, E7, right? And there you go. So all we're doing today, with the time that we have left, which is not a lot, is create, right, the create your grid over your celebrity face. Okay, and then we're going to do a Skinner grid, except it's going to be on your celebrity. All right, what kind of questions do we have?